I'm Brick Road. This here is Super Speed ActRaiser, and we are going to finish it up by going to Heim. I'm going to take Magical Light. You know why? Because screw it. You all get to see what it does, and I get to call this an official full clear, because despite my best intentions and efforts, I managed to get and do everything and max out all my numbers. Amazing. Amazing. Heim is not a level, it's just you have to go in and fight all the bosses with that ominous-looking solar eclipse in the background. Obviously, it's a little harder at super speed than at regular speed, so I will probably lose lives somewhere along the way. The first few bosses, of course, can just be killed with the sword, which is why I'm doing that. Come on, you. Yeah, you can hit me with lightning, I don't even care. I will take my one shot and return fire thusly. Yeah, you get invincibility frames. This does not bother me, because I climbed to the top of your room, cheesehead. Cheesehead? What the hell? Come on, Bug-Eye Pharaoh guy. Let's see, I'll probably lose a life to the next boss, because there's no way to refill your health in this game except apples, and apples are not going to happen in boss fights. This is where you learn that I actually did the stages out of order, because I did Marana before Itos, but you're supposed to do Itos first. But all that accomplishes, really, because one's not really more difficult or annoying than the other. Here's Magical Light. That's all it does. Seriously, that's it. I guess it did more damage than I was expecting, but even so. All that accomplishes, if you do Itos in the correct order and you do it before Marana, is that you don't get the herbs from Marana, and then you have to wait longer to be done with Cassandora. Actually, that is a lot better than I was expecting. Not as good as Magical Aura, but, you know, what is, you know, besides Stardust against specific bosses. Ooh, now do I get to demonstrate how to kill this dragon without magic? Because that'll be fun. He's gonna dive at me. Nope, I can get behind him now. Nope, no I can't. I'm terrible at this. I am really terrible at this. Come on, swoop at me. Oh, I got 3 hits on him. Sweet. Might be close. Hey, the snow's not supposed to hurt. Since when does snow damage me? Haha, if you're gonna cut it close. It's my motto, people. I've been saying that for years. Y'all just have not been paying no attention to me. And now for the last boss, the evil Demon King Tanzra, who killed me in one shot. They give you fireballs for this fight, for no clearly defined reason. And really, there's not much you can do about it except run back and forth and hope that you don't get destroyed. But when he actually comes to the ground and is vulnerable, if you stand a particular distance from him, his shots will always go directly over your head. There is, however, not a lot you can do about this guy except just kind of sit here and hope for the best. And get as many shots in as possible while he's vulnerable. I do not know if there is a strategy to fighting this boss correctly. I do know it's not particularly likely. I might lose a life here too. In fact, it's very likely that I will. No! I did it again! Yes! That's brilliant! 2 bosses killed on my last sliver of... It's funny, because if I was level 16, I would have died there, lost a life, and had to fight the last boss again. I spent this whole Let's Play being like, level 17 doesn't matter, it's just 1 hit point. Yeah, that 1 hit point saved me 2 lives. Even though I had 5 lives, so it kind of didn't matter in the end. And this is the ending of ActRaiser. At this point, I can't speed up the text anymore. It's going to be this slow all the way through the end of the game. But the music is kind of sweet and adorable, so that's fine with me. Kind of a nice laid-back game. And the Angels are going to take us on a world tour of the towns that we've developed and the wonderful things that we've accomplished here in ActRaiser. Which means a lot of little houses and especially bridges. I'm already bored. I'm going to see what's happening in my my other window here. Because I have conversations with people outside of you guys while I'm recording, because that's professional, right? That's what I'm supposed to be doing. And I'm thirsty. Oh, I'm out of Pepsi. How do I always manage to do that? Terrible. ActRaiser is a fun game because the little sim levels where you're building the villages and things, there is no failure state. You cannot screw those up. So it's very much like any player of any skill level can sit down, and even if they have no idea what they're doing, just kind of pushing random buttons and watching things happen, you get a sense for building this world, and you get the accomplishment of doing it. And the absolute worst thing that happens is the monsters will crash into you and you lose all your life and you can't shoot arrows anymore. But there's no actual failure state. You cannot screw it up. So there's always that sense of accomplishment in building something and creating a world. And that's something that has been a big part of all kinds of sim games, SimCity, etc. And that was one of the main draws for me in this game when I was very young and playing on the SNES, is because at the time, there weren't a lot of games that I was good at. Like, I would put in, like, Super Mario World and be like, oh, I can't play this, this is hard, there's, like, lava and Koopas flying at me, what is this mess? But you put in ActRaiser, and then you play, like, this really easy little platformer level that's not complicated, and you can win by just pushing the sword button a lot. And then you get into this nice, meaty city building level, which you can't fail, and which every minute something happens on screen as a direct result of your actions. Like you throw lightning bolts to clear away the forests, or you use the sunlights to dry up the marshlands or whatever. And I was kind of making fun of those things because they're very superficial, but at the time, in the mindset where I originally played this game, it was very engaging. And that's one of the reasons I go back to ActRaiser all the time to play this game, even though it's, I'll be honest, not a stellar game. It's, I love it, but it's not a great game. It is more than the sum of its parts, because the sim sections are very easy, and the action sections are very uncomplicated, but when you put the two of them together, and those two play styles work with and play off of each other, it creates something that is much more enjoyable. It's a contrast of experiences that a lot of games didn't have in the early 90s. Even it's becoming much more common today. Nowadays, you can't buy just like an action game. There's no such thing as you buy just a puzzle game anymore. Now every game has to have elements from all kinds of different styles and things. And that culminates in games like, you know, Batman Arkham Asylum, which, even though it's a good game and it's enjoyable, it kind of doesn't know what kind of game it wants to be. Does it want to be a stealth game? Does it want to be an exploration game? Does it want you to solve puzzles? Does it want you to fight guys? Does it want you to have all these like complicated fighting maneuvers? And so no one aspect of the game is really stellar, but mixing all the aspects together in a big pot creates something that people like. I much prefer ActRaiser's take on the issue, and having, if you're going to have two very disparate gameplay elements, I would rather them be in two separate houses, so to speak. So you do one thing for a while, and then you go do the other thing. And if you're playing the game for the first time, you don't have to alternate, literally. There is a hard cap on, you've got to reach a certain minimum level before it will let you go into Act 1 of any given stage, so you always have to start with Fillmore. But once you've gone into Fillmore and you've leveled up a few times, you can kind of go explore the world in almost any order you want. The only barrier being your skill level at the action stages. So, really, you don't have to go, you know, Act Sim, Act Sim, Act Sim. You can clear Act 1 of a bunch of stages and then go back and build and kind of do one when you get tired of the other, in other words. And that's what I really enjoy about this game, and it's what I enjoy about a lot of modern games that have that kind of style going for them. A lot of RPGs do that, where you can kind of explore the world and do side quests at your own leisure, and then when you get tired of that, you can go advance the plot for a little while. The game is what you make of it, in other words. Yes, Angel, let's go inside the shrine and see my grateful followers. Oh, they're not there. Yeah, they forgot all about us now. There's another game that Quintet, the developer of ActRaiser, made that was very thematically similar to ActRaiser, and it's called Soul Blazer. And it's pretty much the same story. It's like God sends an avatar down to the planet to destroy monsters and free the souls of the people, and as you fight through the stages, the world builds up from nothing, and then you go back and you interact with those stages. And so exploring the cities as you're building them opens up areas in the action stages, and then you go to the action stages and vice versa, and it really plays off each other really well in a way that ActRaiser kind of doesn't with its alternation pattern. And Soul Blazer, it's an action RPG, first of all. It's not just a straight-up platformer. It's more along the lines of, well, you're probably more familiar with its sequels, Illusion of Gaia or Illusion of Time, if you're, one of those European peoples, and Terra Enigma. But both of those games are very closer to the JRPG side of things, where they have these vast epic stories and complicated characters and whatnot, which is fine, but I much preferred Soul Blazer, which is just you are on like a mute hero on an adventure building the world up from scratch. And the only reason that I haven't considered Soul Blazer for a Let's Play is because a lot of, well, you remember the monster spawners in ActRaiser, how they would put monsters out. Well, Soul Blazer has those too, except you have to destroy all the monsters in the spawner before you can cleanse it. And then once it's cleansed, like a house will appear, or a new character will appear inside of the level, and then you can go back and talk to that character. And a lot of the game is literally just standing in one space whacking these monster spawners, which is fun while you're playing the game. It's kind of an uncomplicated lizard brain kind of thing that engages you while you're playing the game, but it's not that fun to watch, in my opinion. But then, what do I know? I didn't think that the simulation stages in ActRaiser would be any fun to watch. And then a bunch of people were like, you're crazy, do it anyway. So I did, and I hope you enjoyed it. And I am never going to play ActRaiser 2, so don't even bother asking. Just go away. I'm Brickroad, and you guys, thanks for watching. Have a good night.